I'm so happy to be joined by the Peterborough Petes first round pick out of the 2020 OHL Priority Selection, Donovan McCoy. Donovan, really appreciate your time. How are things going?
Everything's good. Thank you for having me on. I've seen a couple of the other videos, and it's a pretty cool opportunity to be able to do one myself.
Oh, awesome. That's so great to hear. Yeah, it's just a nice opportunity to kind of catch up and get to know you a little better.
Yeah.
So the first question I have for you, growing up, your father was a Zamboni driver, correct?
Yeah. He works at the wellness center here in Belleville.
Perfect. So maybe you could just talk about how all this time spent in arenas growing up really influenced your love of the sport.
Yeah, it was just more something me and my older brother, just it was one of those things where my dad he was working at the arena, so he just thought he'd try and put me and my brother into it, and it ended up we really liked it and we stuck through it, and we both grew up playing. We both were on AAA together, and then just the last few years we were on different teams. But just growing up and him always being at the rink and just us always being there was just always interest. And with the OHL Belleville Bulls, they used to be here, so it was always interesting and cool to see how there's a team right there, and just knowing that one day I could be playing in that league, it was always cool. And cool to see those guys growing up, move on to the NHL, and it's always just a dream and goal of mine.
Fantastic. And I mean, as a native of Belleville, you grew up going to a lot of Bulls games and watching the Bulls play a lot. So maybe you can just talk about how all of those experiences really played into your OHL dream.
Yeah, just always growing up and seeing the new guys, like some really big players came through as the Subban family. I know I wasn't old enough to see PK come through, but watching Jordan and Malcolm come through Belleville and seeing them, and Jordan was one of my favorite players on the Bulls to ever watch. So it was always cool to see him come in Belleville, play, be really welcomed in the community, and eventually get drafted into the NHL. Same with Malcolm. So just always seeing them, they were my aspirations growing up. So being able to do that and live in my dream come true now. So hopefully things can get started soon.
That's wonderful to hear. So to be in their position now as an up and coming OHL player, has that feeling really sunk in yet?
It has for the most part, other than I haven't really been in front of a whole crowd yet down in Peterborough and yet the whole feeling of that yet. But even just being able to say that I'm part of the team and knowing that eventually one day I am going to be able to achieve that goal of mine of playing in the OHL, it's always exciting and sometimes overwhelming to think of in my head.
Of course. And I mean, you're a member of the Peterborough Petes now, only an hour and a half away from your hometown. So how does the opportunity to play so close to home feel?
It's a great opportunity, being able to know that I have family close by in Oshawa, and just knowing that my family also is here in Belleville, just knows that anytime I really need my family or anything like that, just knowing that they're only an hour and a half away and just it's just a quick trip down the highway, being able to come watch all my home games, even away games. It's always good to know that they're right there. And I know a few of the guys that got drafted, so it's always easy to come to a new team and a new experience to be able to know some guys that you're going there with. And like I said, knowing that your family's right there, so you're not going too far away where it's a hassle if you need anything for them to come see you. So it's a really great opportunity that they're right there and I'm able to play in Peterborough.
Absolutely. Okay, well, looking back to your minor midget season with the Red Devils, you had a point per game season, 35 points in 35 games. Now, I'm not sure if you're a player who focuses too much on stats or rankings or any of that stuff, but how did it feel to kind of put up numbers like that en route to your OHL draft?
Throughout the season, I didn't worry about it too much. I thought that was one thing I really thought about throughout the season is don't let all the scouts in the stands really get to me and just go in there and play my game. And if they like what I'm doing, then they'll take notice of that. But for me, it's just not going out there and worrying about what they think. It's what I need to do to help my team win and the situations we got put in. And at the end of the season, when I found out that I was a point per game, it was a cool feeling to know that all my hard work throughout the season and all the things that I worked on, the little things, they did pay off eventually with being drafted by Peterborough. So I'm glad that everything worked out in the end.
Fantastic. And I mean, winning the OMHA championship and being named OMHA Minor Midget Player of the Year, how special were those accomplishments?
Yeah, OMHA's, first of all, that was with that bunch of guys, that was our fourth time winning it. So the third or fourth time winning it. So it was another great accomplishment for us. And just being able to win it with some of my lifelong friends and even new guys who just got on the team that year, it was great to be able to win it with everyone again. And last year, and sadly, that was our last tournament games together because OHL Cup got canceled. But even at practice, when the coaches announced that I was going to get OMHA Player of the Year, they all showed great support and they all congratulated me. And it was just a great welcoming time at practice that night, and just knowing that they were all there for me and backed me up with it. It was always a great feeling.
I can only imagine. Well, Pete's GM Mike Oak complimented your maturity upon selecting you 15th overall last April. Is that one of the things that you feel makes you stand out?
Oh yeah, I feel like that's one of my good characteristics that a lot of people have about me. Just being able to, no matter if they're older or younger than me, just always trying to help everybody and always try and approach everything in a professional manner, not get above myself or too ahead of myself and be cocky and all that. Just knowing that I'm here because I worked hard and I did everything right and I did all the little things, and just knowing that I'm here, so I'm not going to waste it and ruin my chance at it now.
And living so close to Peterborough, I think Mike had you out to a few games, and you guys kind of got to know each other a little bit before you were selected in April. Is that right?
Well, I was going to go down to a few games that didn't quite work out, but I did meet with them one or two times before, just after training session or something. And it was a good fit eventually after I talked with my family and agent, and just, we really figured it out, and we just came to a conclusion that Peterborough was going to be a really good fit for me, and we knew they were interested. So at the end of the day, when it came to the draft, it was a matter of my name being called, and I'm glad it was with Peterborough.
What is it about the Petes that you feel makes it such a good fit for you?
Just knowing that they always got all players that go through there, they're always mature. They're the community loves them, and they're always welcome no matter what. They're always good citizens in Peterborough, and they don't do anything to ruin that reputation. So just knowing that I'm going to a good hockey town and being able to go to good school down there. I know my billets, I met them, so I know I got good billets. Just being able to have a welcoming environment and coaching staff. I love all the coaching. I love all the coaching staff. So just hopefully soon I can get down there and finally get out to live my dreams and get down there to take it all in.
Absolutely. Now, thinking back to that morning in April a year ago, do you remember who on the team reached out to you upon hearing your name called out?
Yeah, a lot of the guys sent me a message just saying congrats and all of that. But Nick Robertson, he's up with the Leafs or the Marlies right now. He gave me a call and congratulated me, and we talked 10 or 15 minutes. I thought that was a really cool experience because I knew he was drafted to Maple Leafs and stuff, and they're always a Canadian love team. So it was a really cool experience to know that he took his time out of his day to give me a call and congratulate me. So I like that.
Wow, that's definitely a great welcoming, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is there anyone on the team you've really started to form a connection with, someone you've kind of kept in touch with and who's really been there to kind of answer any questions you might have so far?
Yeah, all of them they've all let me know that I can ask them questions or anything I need, but just guys who I've known and I have a bit of a bond with is Sam Alfano. I know he just got drafted too, but I played against him throughout the years at OMHAs and the finals, tournaments and all that. I know me and him, we've got a special bond, and I can feel mine and his friendship could definitely benefit when we're down there in a new place for both of us. So same with Justin too. So can't wait to get down there with them both.
Fantastic. So kind of having Sam in the same position as you are kind of makes this transition a little easier, I would assume.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So you've kind of gotten to know the team virtually over the past year or so. What has the communication been like with the organization? What are you guys kind of doing to keep in touch and stay hockey ready?
Yeah, the coaching staff and all branches connected to Pete's on our weekly Zoom calls, just always like little clips and videos just to keep our mindset right, and just knowing that we can't just give up because we're in COVID right now, and that we always got to be prepared for whenever we're ready to go. And just whenever we get on the call, guys are always making jokes and just having conversations before we start. And it's just a good, positive environment, and it's good to be a part of.
Fantastic. Who would you say is the player, or maybe there are a few players, and Peterborough is coming off a strong season after all. Who are some of the players you're really looking forward to being able to learn from when you guys hit the ice as a team?
I know they had a really strong team last year, so there's quite a few players, but Declan Chisholm, I know he's an overage and graduate now, and he's up with Winnipeg and Manitoba, but I know if I could have got the opportunity to play with him, it would have been a great experience, because I know he's a pretty top end player and he knows what he's doing. He's really mature, and I feel like he could have helped me in a lot of ways. And I know the guys that I'm going to be playing there next year and the years to come, I know they're going to be able to help me just as much as he would be able to, but really anyone, just I can get advice and pick their brains apart on anything. So just when I get down there, I'll probably pick quite a few guys, pick their brains about stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, gonna flip the switch a bit here. Who are you most looking forward to playing against?
Probably one of my lifelong best friends, Dallin Wakely. He was our captain on Quinte on the Red Devils last year. He got drafted to North Bay, and we've always been joking around since this whole COVID thing when we finally play each other what we're gonna do. So I don't know. It's going to be something special when we finally get to play each other for the first time after playing with each other for all these years. So that's something I'm really looking forward to.
It's nice to have a friendly rivalry going, right?
Yeah.
All right. So looking at all the steps you've had to take over the past year, I'm sure some of your training has changed. There's been more time to do extra training. But what would you say, both on and off the ice, are the biggest steps you've taken to prepare for your rookie season in the OHL?
Just keeping a positive mindset and keeping my body in always game shape. Just, it has been tough sometimes with training, just when we find out in a week before that we're not going to be going down anymore, and it's got pushed back again, because just before we go ramp up training and really get your body ready to go, and then it gets pushed back. So then it's really frustrating, because you were in the gym 3-4 times a week, and then now you got to cut it back to 1 or 2. So it has been frustrating, but just keeping a positive mindset. I know that's been one of the hardest things for probably everyone in hockey right now, is just keeping a positive mindset and always just not giving up on what's happening or what the league's trying to do right now. Just always being ready and knowing that they are trying their best to figure something out to let us play. So positive mindset and keeping your body ready are the two big things I took away from it.
Well, that's definitely very encouraging advice. Donovan McCoy, first round pick of the Peterborough Petes, continues to join me now. Let's give OHL fans some more little insight into the kind of player you are, with just some fun facts about you. Sound good?
For sure, yeah.
All right. So just to kick this off, why don't you tell us in your own words what kind of player you are?
I like to think of myself as a good all-around 200-foot defenseman, good in the D zone, neutral zone, and offensive zone, move the puck well, and use my vision and size to my advantage in all situations all over the ice, and just really whatever coach needs me in, I just try my best and use my strengths in all those situations.
Now, you mentioned earlier that when you were drafted by the Petes last April, you mentioned earlier that when you were drafted by the Petes last April, you got a phone call from Nick Robertson. Can you just kind of sum up as best you can the things he said to you?
Yeah, he just let me know how great a place Peterborough was, and he just told me I always keep my head up and don't take anything for granted, and just keep trying my best and give everything my all, even if it's in practice or an off day. Make sure I'm not slacking off or doing anything I wouldn't normally do. Just know that everyone's always watching me, especially in Peterborough. The Petes are loved in the city, so you got eyes watching all over the place. So he said, just us waiting so long to go down and play, people are going to be so eager to see the new guys going down there. So when I do go down there eventually, just like I said before, just knowing that eyes are going to be on me 24/7 almost. So just keeping a positive mindset and my head up all the time, and don't take anything for granted.
So now, which NHL player do you look up to or do you feel you model your game after?
Oh, well, there's two, Duncan Keith and Dustin Byfuglien, even though Byfuglien's not playing right now. Duncan Keith, just because smooth skater, really smart with the puck, and he's a good leader in Chicago, and the Blackhawks are my favorite team. So he was kind of an easy, like one of my favorite players. So, and Byfuglien, just because he's a big guy, uses his size to his advantage. He's good in all three zones with Winnipeg. That's who he was playing with. So I just like both of those guys, and I try and mix their games together, and that's really what I try and model my game after.
Now, growing up in Belleville, attending all these Belleville Bulls games, you mentioned you were a big fan of the Subans. Is there a game or a season or a series that really sticks out in your mind when you think about all those memories watching those games growing up?
There is one memory that I have of Jordan Subban when they were down. I think it was 4-3 in a game, and he scored the tying goal, and then later on in overtime he scored the game-winning goal also. And I know in any situation all the time, like in games, even this past year, anytime we go into overtime or there'd be a situation where we're tied, I'd always kind of click back into that memory and just think of how cool it would be if I were the one to get that goal, or not even get the goal, just contribute to the goal. So that's one memory that'll probably always stick around with me.
Were you at the Bulls' last ever game? I think Subban scored the last ever goal in Bulls history as well.
I wasn't at that game, but I did see videos all over the place, and I saw that for a few of the Bulls players, including Subban, it was hard for them to get off the ice, just knowing that that's their last game playing in Belleville. So just watching the videos, it was pretty sad time, but I know that they're all happy that their time was spent in Belleville, because I know Belleville's a great hockey town. So yeah.
Definitely a sad day. Well, we touched upon your point per game season with the Red Devils and your OMHA championship, your honors as OMHA Minor Midget Player of the Year. If you had to pick one, and I think I know what you're going to pick, what would you name as your top minor hockey memory?
Well, I got a bit of a tie for both. I know the OMHA Player of the Year is a huge honor. I know guys who won it previously, they're on to be stars now, but definitely my last OMHAs and last game with like I said, my lifelong friends and teammates, just knowing that it was sad to know that eventually that would have been my last game playing with them, but probably the Player of the Year and that memory of just the OMHAs and winning it for the last time with them, those are probably my two greatest memories from minor hockey, just knowing that I did all I could to win OMHAs, and then all my hard work did eventually pay off with winning the Player of the Year. So
that's true. As you mentioned, you have a few championships to your name, so definitely a lot of great memories looking back on those years. Who would you say has been your favorite minor hockey coach?
There's been tons. Yeah, there's been tons. Chris Hunt, just one of many that I thank for everything they've done for me. But Chris Hunt, he's been my head coach for, I think it was 7 out of the 8 years, and Patrick Shear was my other coach for that 1 year. But Chris, he's all been there for me, just with the same bunch of kids we've been playing together since minor Adam all the way to minor midget. He's been one of my biggest helps throughout the whole thing, just always keeping my head on straight, giving me things I need to work on, things that I'm doing, lets me know when I'm doing good. He always keeps my head in the game. When we're in a tight game, he puts his trust in me to do the right thing. So he's probably one coach that I'd really thank for everything he's done for me. But there are many other coaches that I do thank for everything they've done too.
Fantastic. Well, having grown up in Belleville, you're not that far away, which is a huge plus. But what would you say excites you most about getting to live and play in Peterborough?
Just getting out there in the new city for me. That'll be my first time being moved to a new place and being able to do what I love and my dream come true in a new city. And like I said multiple times, the Petes are loved in Peterborough. So it'll be great to go down there and see, just being able to, for little kids to admire what I'm doing and being able to be a role model for them and show what I've got to everyone and prove to them that I'm the right choice they made. So just exciting to be able to go down there and show everyone what I got and meet everyone.
Sounds like a pretty phenomenal reason to be excited.
Yeah.
What is your nickname? And if there's a story behind it, what is it?
Well, I got many nicknames, but one that's stuck around is Donnie. It's just pretty easy. That I don't really know the backstory behind it. It's just something that came along. But my teammates have called me many different things over the years. I kind of just stick with whatever they say. It doesn't really bother me, and I don't really care too much. So there's been many, but Donnie's probably the number one that has stuck the longest.
Are there any funny ones that you're okay sharing?
Donnie Berger's probably the one that caught me by surprise. The biggest one when they first started calling me that, I was like, oh, that's a new one. But that's one that still some like the people, like the guys on my team who did first call me that, they still call to me to that day. And it's always a good laugh whenever they do.
Nice. It's nice when those nicknames stick.
Yeah.
All right. What is your pregame ritual and your pregame meal?
I try for my pregame meal to chicken Alfredo. That's probably one of my favorite meals overall. And I just feel like it gives me my best chance at my best showing at my game or anything like that. So my rituals, I know last year me and my Red Devils team, we were a really superstitious team. Like every game we did tons of different little things that random people probably thought were the weirdest thing ever, but we just did it just because it just made us feel good and ready for the game. But probably just taping my stick and warm up in the same, we did warm up in the same order every game, doing the same warm up every game. Just don't change too much. Just whatever I know feels good for me, just stick with it and keep going if I know it's working well for me. Well,
whatever you guys were doing definitely worked. Do you want to share what some of those little things were? Is that like a team kind of secret?
There's quite a bit to, but just ones I notice. We'd always play a couple rounds of volleyball before a game, or I know my goalies would tape other guys' sticks, and people would use different kind of waxes on sticks and handshakes and all sorts of things like that.
Very specific.
Yeah.
Now, most players I've spoken with so far have kind of told me they're not super particular about their locker room music ahead of the game. What about you? Is there a certain type of music you have to listen to before you get on the ice? Are you the guy who chooses the playlist in the locker room?
No, I don't really care too much about music. I my preferred choice, rap. Just when I got my own headphones in, if it's an important game, I'll put my headphones in. Rap's probably my go-to, but for the most part, I'm not usually the one who plays music in the room, but I don't really care as long as everyone's focused for the game or having a good time at practice or whatever the case might be. Just I don't mind too much with the music.
Fair enough. Which OHL arena are you most looking forward to playing in on the road?
I'm not I don't know too much about all of the arenas, but I know Ottawa, they seem like they've got a pretty nice arena and their fans are always into it. And just I know Ottawa and Peterborough have got quite a rivalry, so it'll be good to be able to go down there and be the opposing team in there and see what happens when we go down there.
Fantastic. All right. One more question to wrap it up. Can you tell us if there is a significance or a story behind your number?
Actually, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins plays in Edmonton right now. He was probably I don't really know how I got hooked onto him, but he's just one player that I just always like. Him and Patrick Kane. It was between 88 and 93 what number I chose, and I chose 93 because Hopkins is one of my favorite players. So I've just stuck with it all the way through, and I wish I could be able to stick with him, Peterborough, but I can't, and that's all right.
That's all right. That's a good attitude.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Donovan, thank you so much for taking some time to chat. Really enjoyed catching up, getting to know you a little better. Hope you're keeping safe and healthy. And thanks again. It's been nice being able to chat.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It was a good chance to talk and get to know you better too, and let everyone know more about me.
Absolutely. We're always happy for those opportunities and for positive stories.
Yeah.
So this is the newest member of the Peterborough Petes, Donovan McCoy, and the 15th overall selection at the 2020 OHL Priority Selection.